Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Nate the Lighting Guy, and in this video we're going to be cleaning up the Elation Sniper 2R. I recently acquired this light from eBay, and it's going to need a good cleanup. The mirrors inside have some dirt and grime and dust on them, and I'm going to show you how I go in and clean up this unit, as well as solve a kind of a weird thing. This light's brackets came welded onto a T-bar instead of bolted. I'll show some clips from that.
Yay!
Clean that up a little bit.
Yeah, I got some.
I got into the flat part a little bit, but I don't think it'll take away any strength.
All right. Yeah, Alba needs a bit of a sanding and respray painting.
First thing we're going to do in order to make sure we're safe when handling this unit is I am going to put on some safety glasses to protect my eyes in case the bulb shatters, and I have some rubber gloves here. This is just to keep the oil from your fingers off the lamp, because the oil then is a way for heat to collect and then heat kills stuff. So I'm going to flip this to my secondary camera and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the back and get this removed. Alright, that should give you a pretty good view of the back of the unit. So I'm going to go ahead and just take off these two screws right back here that house the lamp. Pull that door right out of the way. There are two little connectors that are connecting the bulb in right there. Let's see if I can focus it a little better. And those two connections must be removed from the lamp before we pull the lamp out. So just gently wiggle those loose. So now those are out. Push those back out of the way. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my thumb to this side and gently push the lamp to the right until it comes forward just a little bit. I should be able to move that to the left. And then just come out. And there we go. So now we have the lamp removed. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside to a safe place. And we'll proceed. Now that we have the lamp removed, I'm going to go ahead and remove this bracket. And while I'm doing this, I should have one of those metal pan things to keep those in place. By the way, your unit may have these hex bolts screwed in better than what I had here. I just had them loose so I could remove them easily for the video. And I'm going to go grab that magnetic tray and be right back. So you'll see on the front here we got 4 screws to remove up here. I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Alright, now that I've removed those 4 screws, it simply comes off like that. Ooh, that is dusty. Alrighty. Now we're going to go flip around to the back and unscrew the screws that are holding this back plate on. Actually, you know, while we're at it, we can probably just put this back too, because we're not going to need this loose anymore. There we go. Alright, 4 screws again, and that one is already somewhat loose. That just slides forward, comes right off. Those will definitely need some cleaning. Okay, next up we're going to be removing these side panels here. Now, they all have, each the top and bottom, the center part, and the bottom part are all separate. They're not all attached together, but in order to properly remove the sides from these things, the 3 panels that are on the sides must all be removed pretty much at the same time. And so, in order to make that happen, we have 4 screws to remove on both the front and the back of the unit. I'm going to start off with the back here. And do keep track of your screws, because these ones take different types of screws than the ones for the plastic covers. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did back there, but on the front. Alrighty, we're ready to remove this side panel, so I'm just going to kind of push this forward a little bit, if I can, and there it goes. So, yeah, to make this a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and remove this ground screw from the side panel as well. And then these can be set to the side. Now that we have this side panel off, the steps are essentially the same for taking off the other side panel. So I'll show you from the front now. See if I can have this side come off a little more gracefully than I did the other one. There we go. So now, this top part's loose. Just going to set that to the side. And the bottom one, just kind of lift that up a little bit. If I can. There we go. Push it forward a little bit, and then that should come loose. I'm going to leave this bar here since there's both grounding cables connected to it. I'm just going to leave that as is. We've got the bottom plate as well. Just take out one screw. And it should come right off. we go. Alright, now I'm going to go blow this out, and I'll be right back. There was not too much dust in here, which is good. It shows that the unit probably didn't have very many hours on it. We can check that for sure though later on in the menu, because this does have a unit hour count on it. Now let's get to the fun part and get the mirrors cleaned out. So now that you have access to the sides, you will have an easier way you can reach the mirrors. And the way that I have cleaned these mirrors, a microfiber cloth and some window cleaner. So you have direct access to the Y-axis mirror up here, and go ahead and give that a wipe down. Go ahead and take the dry part of the cloth and just get off all the dust. And that is looking nice and clear. So there's 3 mirrors inside this unit that direct the beam to the front, and the first mirror that the beam actually hits is kind of a Z-axis rotating mirror, so to speak. And the way that you get to that is actually removing the mirror itself. On the bottom here, the motor can be removed by these 2 screws right here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. And I'm going to go ahead and start this one, and then just hold the motor in place while I unscrew it. There we go. Alright, so we got 2 wires that are holding this in place. We got the one for the motor, and then we got the sensor wire right there. And what you can do is, this is kind of tight, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the sensor wire right here. And I'm also going to pull out the motor cable. And now we have the mirror freed. So I'm going to go ahead and get some Windex on this thing and spray that as well, or whatever glass cleaner you prefer to use. I mean, who am I kidding? That's pretty much a Windex alternative, so yeah. Beautiful. Alright. Let's set that there to the side. And now we have good access to the, see here if you can see that, to the bottom mirror right here. And go ahead and get the microfiber cloth in there to clean that mirror. This is kind of hard to see and hard to reach, so I'm going to just do this on my end. But and sometimes I find the need to, as I'm getting in here, there's this 3-faucet prism that moves in and out. Sometimes just want to hold that up right there while I'm getting in so my hand can properly reach inside. Alrighty. Now, there's a good chance you'll probably miss a few spots on these things, just like I did, so I'm going to go ahead and get those corners that I missed. Alrighty. one's looking good. Now that we have this open and that motor's still out, now would be a good time to take some whatever disinfecting wipes or cleaning wipes that you want. I'm going to go ahead and give the unit a wipe down of the dust that is remained on the surface. I'm also going to try not to get this on the mirrors because these disinfecting wipes are not meant to clean mirrors. So, yeah.
At this point, this is the furthest I'm going to dismantle this unit. I'm going to be cleaning up whatever I think that should be cleaned in this unit, although your mileage may vary depending on how dirty your unit is or how much you want to clean the insides. But we're just going to speed through this one, and then I'm going to start putting it back together pretty much the same way I've taken it apart, and so we'll speed through that as well.
Alright, and that covers for all those pieces. Now let's go ahead and reinstall the Z-axis mirror. We'll go ahead and make that happen. Just like before, I'm going to go ahead and do some steps in reverse and reconnect the motor. The bottom one looks like it can swivel for a little bit. I just try to make sure I put it back exactly in the place that I've seen it before. Now, next up we have the shutter right here. We have the magnifying glass for the Platinum R2 lamp over here, and then we have the color wheel. The nice thing is that the gobo wheel, which is on the other side, doesn't really need to be cleaned because all it is just metal punch-out gobos, so dust there is not going to affect the light output. Now it can affect the color lenses though, so I'm going to go ahead and just take my microfiber cloth and just do a little bit of each of those. Yep. Alrighty, that's looking good. I'd suggest at this point, get any other areas clean if they need cleaning. And we'll be ready to put this back together. This is the side bracket for this side of the unit, and if you did happen to take both brackets off and you put the screws in, there's only one screw that gets attached on the bracket of this side, and on the other side there's two of them for each of the grounding wires. But this one only has one grounding wire, so the position and the orientation are pretty easy to figure out with this one, which is handy. Now I wouldn't suggest putting the screw back in for this one because these bottom parts here have two grooves going along the bottom. One of the groove goes in that bottom plate there, and the second one goes on the one above it. So I'll take this plate here, just position it so that the bottom clicks on the bottom, the second clicks on that one. Attach that there to the top, grab grab another plate here and attach this one on the top here. Come on. And that's not going on because that is the wrong direction. It goes this way. Much better. And then, alright, we're attached. I'm going to go ahead and take the middle bracket screws and just put those in for right now, because that will hold, should hold everything in. And maybe you want to start with the back, because that is where there's a little notch in the back where the bracket bar kind of just sits in. And when it sits there, it pretty much automatically lines up the screws too. So. And if they don't line up, check to make sure the top and the bottom is snapped together. And if you miss stuff when cleaning and just doing it as you're putting it back together, that's no problem. I end up doing that a little too sometimes. Alrighty. So I don't know if you can see this, but both the bottom and the top part are kind of clamped together there. Just gotta get those separated. And then moved in, put them on properly. And before I push that in, I'm going to insert the metal bracket part there so that everything just slides in. There we go. Now for the top panel. There we go. Getting those little screws back in. And now there is one screw that gets attached on the front. I'll go ahead and put that in now. For the bottom plate, because now that the panels are on and everything looks level from here, go ahead and put that in. Now, as for the scratches on the metal surface here, if those really were to be, if you wanted to make this unit look perfect, you may be able to do this with a paint touch-up kit. I'm not going to do that today because I don't have one. I might consider doing that in the future, depending on how clean I do want this to look. But for right now, I really just wanted to make sure that there was nothing too gross happening on the inside and that the mirrors were cleaned. Now let's clean these front and back dirty plastic units. And also, depending on how dirty this metal grate is, you can remove it. There's 2 screws right here if you want to get that off. Again, if you don't think it's too dirty for that, then you just leave it on and wipe it down with the rest of everything. So the adjustment part of it is facing backwards for the unit. So we'll go ahead and start off with the little hex bolt there. Not too tight, but just enough to kind of keep it in place, and I'll do the same for the other side. There we go. So now they're sitting there. That's probably where one of the dents came from. Alright, and then we have one of the rubber washers. I'm just going to pry that out a little bit, and then just kind of see if I can work it in there without making it fall through the bottom. There we go. Once I have that cut, I'll go in and start screwing that in. I'll tighten that up to hold it in place. Actually, I'll screw in the other one too. So it's about at that point. And tighten that up. Now that holds it in place for me to install the other one. There we go. Alrighty. And now the unit is fully assembled back together with all the mirrors cleaned. And there's the back of it, there's the front of it. And good to go to put the bulb back in and to give this unit a try. So I already showed the bulb taken out. Again, the manual's for if you need help putting it back in. But until the next time, I'm Nate the Lighting Guy, and thanks for watching.